Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today I have a stamping and cutting technique that I want to share. It's super simple and you can create 4 cards with this technique. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have 4 different cards which were created from a one-sheet wonder. So I'm going to show you how to stamp a one-sheet wonder today. It's super simple and you can use any stamp set you have on hand. Now the cards in this video feature the Dahlia Days stamp set from Stampin Up. So this stamp set is from the January to June mini catalog. And the cards also feature all 5 of the brand new in colors. So these 5 colors will launch with the new Stampin Up catalog in May, so May 3rd. And these colors are just absolutely gorgeous, so I wanted to showcase them on the cards that I'm sharing with you today. So if you are loving these new in colors, definitely check out my in color card making club. You can find additional details and the link in the description below this video. All right, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to cut a piece of white cardstock at 8 inches. And then this side is 10.5 inches. So you're gonna cut your 8.5 by 11 down to 8 by 10.5 inches. The next thing you wanna do is just measure the center. Try to find the center of each side. So for example, this 10.5 inch side, the center is 5 1/4. So I just drew a very light pencil line right down the center here. And then this side is the 8 inch side. And so your center is 4 inches, and I just drew a light line down the center here. So basically what we are going to do is we're going to stamp a variety of images, and we're going to kind of hover around these center lines here. And I'm going to use all 5 of the new colors. So we'll start with the Sweet Sorbet, and we're just going to randomly stamp kind of around the lines. So you can see I'm kind of stamping, you know, on one side of the line, then on the other side. All right, next I'm going to use the Parakeet Party, and we'll stamp some leaf images here. Next, I'm going to add some Orchid Oasis. So notice how I'm just using a different image and different colors with each of the images. Next, I'm going to be using Tahitian Tide. So this is a really pretty blue. All the colors are very pretty. And we'll just fill this in. And then the last color I'm using is Starry Sky. And this time I'm going to use one of the splatter images from the Quiet Meadow stamp set just to add a little bit more color. And this is a pretty bold color, so that's why I decided to just kind of go with a splatter image. Okay, so this is what our stamping looks like. So you can see I just kind of stamped, tried to stay along that line, those little lines that I put in here. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this up. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut it the long ways. So I'm going to line my paper up in my trimmer at the 4-inch mark, and I'm going to cut right down that pencil line that I had created. So we'll cut this in half at 4. And then I'm going to take each of these pieces and I'm going to put them back in the paper trimmer, and we're going to cut these down to 5 1/4. So we'll just line up that pencil mark, and we'll line up the 5 1/4, and we'll cut these down. And so you can already see what I'm creating here. And then we'll put this one back in at 5 1/4. And we'll cut that. All right, so here is what our cardstock looks like. So I have it all cut into pieces. So each of these pieces are 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So now they're all stamped and all ready to put our cards together. So as you can see from stamping on that large cardstock piece, once I cut it, I have this fun little design, which is different on each of the 4 different pieces. So now we can use these pieces to create our cards. All right, so here are all of our pieces. So you can use them any way you want. You can use them in the portrait style, or of course you can turn them and use them in the landscape style, whichever style you like. I'm gonna stick with the portrait style. So I'm just gonna set these to the side. And then the next thing I did is I just cut my card bases. So I cut 4 card bases from the Starry Sky cardstock. And so these are your regular size card bases. So they are 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and just scored down the middle at 4 1/4 inches. So I created all 4 of them exactly the same. And then I just created some little greetings just to add some depth and dimension. You don't have to do this. You can actually just stamp your greeting right on the card and you'll be done. But I just wanted to add a little bit of depth and dimension. So I have my little greetings already cut out from some white cardstock, and I just used one of the stitched rectangular dies to create these little greetings. And then the last thing I did is just tied 2 pieces of twine together to create some cute little bows, and I will decorate the cards with those. So let me show you how easy these are and how quickly they come together. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just adhere all of these pieces to their card bases. Okay, so now we have all of our card bases set up to go. Now we can go ahead and add our greetings. So I just added some dimensionals to the back of my greeting, and then I'm just gonna pop it up on the card. So I just find that it's a lot quicker if you just prep everything and then do the assembly work. Okay, so that's what the cards look like. Aren't they pretty? They're just so pretty. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our little bows. So I like to adhere my bows just using a little glue dot. So I usually just put the glue dot right on my project, and then I adhere the little bow, the knot in the bow, and then you can just trim down the excess. So we'll adhere all of these first. Okay, so now I have all my bows kind of trimmed down a little bit here. The last thing I'm going to do is just simply add some pearls to embellish. Okay, so that's it. Look how beautiful they are. They're very quick and simple to do. And you can use any stamp set that you have on hand. You can actually use any colors as well. So I think they're just gorgeous. It's just a fun little technique. And it's a great way to make 4 cards really quickly. Now, I also did a little bit of decorating on the inside, so I used the same images that I used on the front, same colors, and I just stamped all 5 of those images with all 5 of the different colors on the inside of the card. So the cool thing about this is every card is different, as you can see. And if I were to stamp this again, because I randomly stamped on a piece of white cardstock, if I were to stamp this again, the cards would still be different. So it's very cool. Okay, so there you go. Now you have a very simple stamping and cutting technique that you can use with really any stamp set that you have on hand. And if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.